Okay, if everybody can come in, there's plenty of seats. You can filter in. There's also some seats in the back. And we are going to get started because we want to make sure we have plenty of time for the panel and lots of discussion. So come on in, feel free. Welcome. My name is Kathleen Pearl, and I am honored to serve as the Chief Impact Officer here at the Military Women's Memorial. Our board chair is going to come up in just a few moments to talk more about the memorial and our mission, but we truly welcome each and every one of you here tonight, and for those that will stay for the entire length of the conference over the next few days. Can you guys hear okay? Yes. Yeah. If you in the back can come on and have a seat, please. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So again, welcome, and thank you so much to Global Friends of Afghanistan and also Afghan Voices of Hope. You can't hear? Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So we really want to get started because, again, I know that, we've got a lot of people in the parking garage, and it is a hard stop at 9 o'clock to get out, so we want to keep it on time. So without further ado, I do want to welcome to the podium the board chair for the Military Women's Memorial, Major General retired U.S. Army Jan Edmonds. She served in the Army for 32 years as a leader and commander at every level of the Department of Defense. Subsequent to retiring from the military, General Edmonds has consulted extensively throughout the defense and aerospace industry and has served on numerous boards, including, of course, the Military Women's Memorial. So welcome to the podium, please, Major General Jan Edmonds.
Well, good evening, everyone. The food smells delicious. The music was fabulous. You're wonderful. So on behalf of Phyllis Wilson, our president, the rest of the board of directors, and our entire staff, welcome to the Military Women's Memorial. We're delighted you're here. The conversation has been buzzing, so I know you're going to have a great conference. We're honored that you chose the Military Women's Memorial as your venue for the second annual conference of Friends of Afghanistan. And before I hand the podium over to Jason Hawk, Director of Global Friends of Afghanistan, and Gyosu Yari, Director, Afghan Voices of Hope, I just wanted to share how connected we feel to the mission of these two organizations. Afghan Voices of Hope elevates the stories of Afghan refugees to bring them to life, for the world to see and to understand. Similarly, Global Friends of Afghanistan, by illuminating the history, the culture, and the events of Afghanistan, has offered a platform for people to share their experiences and hopes for a peaceful and prosperous future for their country. We at the Military Women's Memorial have a similar mission to collect and elevate the stories of women who've served our nation, and through their service blaze new pathways for all American women to follow, from the right to vote after World War I, to the right to the ability to work in the workforce after World War II, the right to serve as full members of the military in 1948, to the right to serve in combat in the global war on terror. When the voices of all of our people are heard and their talents flourish, the society becomes stronger. To this end, we were proud to launch our Women, Peace, and Security series last year with an event featuring a panel of women from the cultural support teams of the U.S. and the female tactical platoons of Afghanistan. And in my view, that was the most impactful and significant program that we have had in this organization in the 25 years we have existed. That program carries on with the ongoing oral history interviews of the FTPs and the CSTs. We believe it's imperative to capture these stories for the historical record and to highlight them through exhibitions, public programming, and these interviews are and will remain a permanent part of our collections as tribute to the essential role of women in defense, diplomacy, and development to ensure a stable and lasting peace. For as Vice President Harris and Secretary Bilkin have both stated, the status of women is the status of democracy. So without further ado, please welcome Jason Houck, a retired Army Foreign Area Officer and co-founder of the Director of Global Friends of Afghanistan, and Gia Yari, Director, Afghanistan Voices of Hope.
Welcome. Welcome to everybody. Those who are returning from the conference last year, welcome back. We look forward to continuing to do this and other events that come out of what we're going to talk about over the next few days. As she mentioned, I'm one of the co-founders of Global Friends of Afghanistan. We developed right after the collapse of Kabul in 2021 with an eye to making sure that Afghanistan was not forgotten and that Afghan voices got amplified, and that's still our mission today. So I want to thank our partner, the Military Women's Memorial. This is an amazing venue and an honored and beautiful place, so we're happy to be in this conference with you together. Thanks to our conference chair for 2023, Colonel Retired John Agolia, my battle buddy and right-hand man and all things that we're doing here. This is an amazing thing that you've done, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Look forward to going through this with you. Thanks to the conference committee, and it was quite a committee this year to put the conference together, and a lot of you are sitting in this room. A lot couldn't make it, some came down sick. COVID is going around in other parts of the country, so we got some cancellations. But thank you to Aref Dostiar, Akila Nasrat, Laura Trainer, Gisu Yari, Asma Faraz, Hosna Jalil, Annie Forsheimer, the team from MWM, Nasrat Khalid, Chris Blackburn, who's over in the UK right now, keeping our website going. To our moderators, the panelists, the Ideas Shura team, this is a great network, and I'm humbled to be a small part of it. Thanks to the 50-plus volunteers and teammates at Global Friends of Afghanistan that are working often behind the scenes and often publicly to keep Afghanistan in the news and to help amplify Afghan voices. I get notes every day from around the globe, Afghans in diaspora, Afghans still living inside Afghanistan, just thanking us for trying and for giving a little bit of hope, which is the best that anybody can do right now outside of government. Thanks to our sponsors and partners who've given their time, their money, their sweat, and their hearts to make this conference a reality. We cannot do it with all these folks, and I'm going to name them off, but you can see them on our website and our banners. Cipher Brief, SEAL, big applause to SEAL for all you've done this year. Moral Compass Federation, No One Left Behind, Blue Water Thinking, Immigrant and Refugee Outreach Center, React DC, The Hero's Journey, Afghan Institute for Strategic Studies, Homes Not Borders, ARG Global, Task Force Argo, the Kroc Institute for International Peace Studies, Safe Path Prosperity, Mosaic, Pillars for Humanity, the Capital Brands Group, the Veteran Coalition International, the Over Never Out Band. I sing in that. It will be okay. The Elverston Consulting, the Combined Arms SIVs and Allies Program, which I just heard about what they're doing in North Texas, my old stomping ground, and the Department of Health and Human Services. And finally, thanks to the Afghan Voices of Hope team for the panel we're about to hear from. We're proud to partner with you and your team. We look forward to this time together tonight. Our conference goal this year is on our website. There's a full agenda. You can look through all of that. But it's in keeping with the reason we started this organization, and that's to provide a safe virtual and physical space for Afghans to gather here in America and around the globe in virtual spaces to share ideas and prepare for a better future. And that has got to be the long-term goal. If you're not planning to come to the full conference tomorrow and Tuesday, I'd love to change your mind. It's going to be impactful, and there's still time to get tickets. Go on Eventbrite tonight and register. A lot of you are already registered, so it'll be a lot easier. So have a great evening, and thank you for coming. Thank you to all of you for being here on a Sunday evening when I know you have a lot of family events going on in this world. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. I think Jason did all the thank yous. I don't think I should do it again because I'm going to repeat myself. I would like to do a special thanks to Leora, who are here tonight with us, and also Laura Trainer, who were on my side in the past 2 years. Thank you. Before we move to tomorrow and listen to many incredible leaders, change makers, and approaches for the future of Afghanistan, we are hoping that tonight will give us all the opportunity to reflect on your 2 years in exile and friends who remained a strong support to us and our causes for Afghanistan. My name is Gesu Yari, a feminist in exile, a refugee and hoping to become a storyteller. You are here tonight to think about Afghanistan one more time, listen to us and these stories we believe can tell you about lives in conflict and struggles to resist for a future of a country. Tonight's exhibition is based on a project I have started on August 2021 in a refugee camp in Poland. This project, as you know, says the voices, testimonies, experiences, and show us the reality of what we had built for 20 years, and why losing these gains took us years back. After 2 years, now with more than 200 stories from Poland to Canada, to France, to Pakistan, and to many states in the United States, I believe these stories deserve to be heard, to listen to take it into our lives. These stories will also ask us to adjust ourselves and prepare to find the deep experiences of our living in conflict and still survive. To us who lived in Afghanistan, these stories will remind us of our childhood, our homes, our apartments, our neighborhoods, and our fight for an unknown future for years. These stories are historic evidence, not fiction. They are real stories of individuals whose options were to sing, to dance, to play sport, to laugh, to dream, and be hopeful. Dear all, I wanted to record a piece of history that only happened on August 15, 2021. I later found out that these stories reflect our fight, our achievements, our differences, our beauties, our freedom, who resisted conflict, changed narratives, and hoped for a future that was not in the hand of terrorists, but in the hand of brilliant, resisted women who were willing to be part of a movement for democracy. It was not my first time in exile. I had the experience to escape a child marriage in 2007. However, 2007 was different. I always had hoped to return, but this time was as if my body, my future, my career never belonged to me. Sometimes it's easy to say it, but hard to live with. These personal experiences may not change anything today, but these stories will be the evidence of what regimes can do to you, to your body, and to your future. I'm sure each one of you listened to many news stories, watched many documentaries and films about Afghanistan's collapse. In this project, behind doors in refugee camps and hotels, we built communities and made connections. I cried with hundreds of people talking about their memories and lives in Afghanistan. I believe the difference between news stories and my experience was that we found a space to connect, to share, to cry, and still find ways to start lives from zero. Dear all, deep into these stories and my personal experience, I learned that these stories are covering cross-cutting themes, including trauma, guilt, the difficult choice to become a refugee, and overcoming many other difficult life challenges. Many women, including me, who are forced to leave their countries, was a very difficult reality to face in 2021. Not only leaving home behind, they also found it difficult to relate to their new communities in these countries. They also expressed feelings of loss, yearning for tangible and intangible belongings that were crucial to shaping their identities. Sometimes life gets unbearable to many of us. A storyteller who spent her life honing her craft as a talented theater performer told me, "What do I do now when things get unbearable? Talk to a photo? It won't fix anything. The Taliban took everything from me. First my mother, now my father and sister. Sometimes I wonder, what is the hope for which I should keep living? What can I have? A family? A life? A mother? What?" I also learned that these women are fighting for women's rights in Afghanistan while enduring difficult challenges, navigating their new lives as refugees. Living as refugees who are uprooted from their homes, careers, and established relationships, these stories exposes the often overlooked emotional toll of displacement. They challenge us to consider the devastating impact of leaving behind not just physical possessions, but also a sense of belonging, cultural heritage, and personal dreams. This serve as a reminder of the resilience and determination required to build one's life in a new land, while also highlighting the urgent need for compassion and support for those who have undergone such experiences. I am not representing any storytellers in this exhibition nor in this project. They are owning their own stories. I ask you to take your time, read them, listen to them, digest them. They will not be easy reads, but deserve the time to be heard. We cannot and should not ignore their voices and how they continue to struggle to fight meanings in their lives with a heavy heart, losing their past lives and identities, and with their current courage to adjust to their new communities and exile. As I visited so many women and men around the world, I went to Fort Myers, Florida on the summer of 2022, entered a hotel room that was rented for 3 young women. I met Mariam, a young, energetic, and hopeful woman who I have the privilege to mentor ever since. Mariam shared many stories with me and many memories of her childhood and her young time in Kabul. But one thing she missed, her beautiful journal that was behind in Kabul. Now that she received her journal in the United States, I would like to ask what Mariam dreamed when she was in Afghanistan and what her current goals and hopes are in this country. Thank you, Mariam.
Thank you so much, Giso. As I promised my mom, I'm gonna promise Giso, I'm gonna be a good daughter to you as well. And you will be proud of me, I promise. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna share my story. There is a beautiful saying, never give up on building a world you can envision, even if others cannot see it. Sometimes it can be very challenging to remain strong, and sometimes the real challenge is to believe in yourself, to never give up. Since my childhood, my dream has been to become a politician, an advocate for my people, because I have always had a burning passion to fight for my own rights and the rights of others. I never wanted to witness Afghans seeking refuge around the world. Instead, I aspired to transform Afghanistan into a place we can call home, a place of love and prosperity. At an early age, it became clear to me that pursuing my education in Afghanistan would not allow me to achieve my goals, as discrimination against my ethnic background, being Hazara, would prevent me from pursuing a career in politics. When I was in high school, I worked hard to earn a college scholarship to study politics abroad. That is when I heard about a college called Harvard. I didn't know where it is located on map, but I started doing some research. The more I learned about Harvard and its top-rated political science programs, attending Harvard became one of my most important goals. As I prepare my college application this fall, Harvard is at the top of my list, and it may seem impossible to many, but anything is possible if you work hard and if you are honest with yourself and what you truly desire to achieve. When the Taliban seized control of Afghanistan, I was fortunate to escape and find refuge here in the United States. Today, I feel incredibly blessed and proud to stand before all of you, discussing my dreams and vision for the future of Afghanistan. However, I'm also aware that thousands of the other girls who are still trapped in Afghanistan, with their dreams shattered, they are deprived of education, joy, and even freedom to go out of their homes. It is devastating to think about, and I think about them daily. I cannot forget my people living in poverty and witnessing the denial of education for girls in Afghanistan. I am living in the greatest country in the world of opportunity, but my thoughts are constantly consumed by those who remain in my homeland. I have no choice but to accelerate my progress, to turn my dreams into reality, and to bring the hopes to the lives of those who are suffering. It is my duty to continue learning and working hard and leave the world a better place than I found it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariam. You're really hoping so much. I don't know if I'm that hopeful to live in the United States, as you know. With that, I'm honored to introduce Greg Myrie, who is with us tonight. Thank you, Greg. I would like to have you on the stage for moderating our great panel. Greg is a national security correspondent with many years as a foreign correspondent covering conflict around the world. He was previously the international editor for NPR. He remains a frequent contributor to the NPR website on global affairs. Before joining NPR, Myrie was a foreign correspondent for 20 years with New York Times and the Associated Press. Thank you very much. I would like to ask Yalda and Mujib to join me at this stage to discuss these stories and what it means to live in exile.
Thank you, Gesu, for that introduction, and I will introduce the others here joining me on stage. Can everybody hear okay? Is this mic doing all right? Okay, great. So just to my left here is Yalda Royan. Yalda, welcome. She is a women's rights activist with a master's degree from Kabul University. She was working as a consultant for the World Bank when she fled her homeland in 2021, as all three of our panelists did. She's now working for Freedom Now, dealing with women's issues in Afghanistan. And she speaks and writes widely about women's issues in her homeland, including a recent op-ed in Newsweek magazine about how the Taliban have backtracked on their promises regarding girls' education. So welcome, Yalda. And to Yalda's left is Mujib Mehrdad. He's the former editor-in-chief of the leading Afghan newspaper, Hashti Su. He's also the author of numerous poetry collections, including one he's trying to get published right now. Mujib has translated numerous Western poets into the Dari language. He also teaches literature. He was jailed by the Taliban before he managed to leave in 2021, and he now lives here in Virginia. Mujib, welcome. And Yesu, you've already introduced yourself quite well in a lovely fashion. And I want to get us started by taking a brief detour through Ukraine. I've done a lot of reporting there in the last year and a half. And when I was there most recently, just this summer, I couldn't help but notice this major campaign on mental health, led by President Zelensky's wife, Olena. And it's called simply, "How are you?" And they do use that phrase as their sort of catchphrase because they wanted something warm and friendly. And they want you, when a Ukrainian asks you, "How are you?" They're not just making small talk. They're not just asking how your day is going. Fine, thanks, great to see you. It's really an invitation to talk about how you're feeling, how you're coping with the war, how is your family doing, what are your circumstances. And it's something that hasn't come easily to Ukrainians. They don't have this sort of network of therapists and mental health infrastructure to help people deal with that. And we thought that might be a way to get our panel started this evening. So, Yola, let me start with you. How are you?
Thank you, Greg. So, you mentioned in my bio that my recent op-ed was on Newsweek. I have another op-ed after that on Slate, and that's about the 2 years of me being in legal limbo in the United States. And to your question, how are you? Do you mean physically or mentally?
Both.
As a single mom, as a woman,
All
as a
of the
refugee?
above.
From which aspect? So physically, I have gained 15 kg in the last 2 years. And that's because of emotional eating and because of the level of stress that I have. I can't fight the hunger that I go through or I face in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day or any time that I think of Afghanistan and I think of women back at home. Mentally, there is not a day that I don't cry for women and for my sisters in Afghanistan. And for the youth who go through many hardships right now. For the messages that you wake up in the morning and see in your WhatsApp, there are people who are asking you for financial support, for evacuation, for safe relocation, and for many other things that you can't do anything except to cry and to blame yourself that why you are not able and feel helpless and hopeless. As a single mom, I have to struggle day and night to make the ends meet. I have 2 daughters going to college, and I have to pay for their education. I have to take care of everything at home. And as a refugee, I have been waiting for an asylum, for a decision from the asylum office since December 8, 2021. So this is how I feel. Do you want me to add more?
We're going to pick up on a number of the themes you mentioned, so just hold that thought. Just thank you. Mujib, how are you?
Thank you. Thank you. I think I'm not bad because in Kabul I was part of a generation that we considered ourselves to be at the middle of the huge social transformation of Afghanistan. And we were considering ourselves to be key figures of that transformation. We were teaching in the universities, holding literary gatherings, publishing books, giving speeches, dealing with corruption as a journalist, and challenging the most corrupt figures within the government, to the extent that now the peoples belong to the past republic, accusing as of the free media of contributing to the collapse of the regime, because we were making them look not beautiful and good in the eyes of the people of Afghanistan. We were writing interrogative reports, and on the basis of those reports, ministers, deputy ministers, governors were removed from their jobs. So when I compare myself, like doing all these things in Afghanistan, and like it is like my second year in the United States that I'm trying to get settled, and still, to tell you the truth, it's not happening. And the sense of meaninglessness, losing that impact that you have on your society, I think this is painful. It is not the story of me, an individual, it's the story of a generation that could be part of more meaningful change and transformation in the future. But unfortunately, we, as a generation, deprived of that opportunity and that chance to be part of the huge transformation of our society.
Thank you. We're going to pick up on a lot of that as well. Yeah, a lot to unpack there. Jesu, you as well. How are you?
I don't know how I am actually. It's extremely hard to describe it or define it or structure it, how I feel. But I just would like to explain the feeling that is in me for a very long time. I was forced to leave Afghanistan as the result of child marriage in 2007. I came to the United States. I lived here until 2015, and I had the opportunity to return. Between 2015 until 2021, every time I traveled to the United States, I feel like there was an energy that was asking me to go back. And I always had this hope in me that would push me to go, and I shouldn't stay here more than 10 days. But after the collapse, it's as simple as that. I feel like there is a hole in my heart that can never be filled. Although I'm full of stories, I saw so many people, we grieved together, we shared so much. But that hole in my heart, I think, is going to remain empty.
Thank you. Yelda, I'm going to pick up on this. Let Jesu, you left Afghanistan twice. Jesu says you left in 2007, went back, and then came to the United States again in 2021. You left in your youth. Tell us about both your first and your second time you had to leave Afghanistan.
Yeah, I was 14 years old when the Mujahideen came to Afghanistan, and then we started the civil war. And together with my family, we had to migrate to Pakistan.
This was the 1980s?
1993 or 94.
After that
Yeah.
stage of the
I think
Afghan,
we-
the Soviets departed, and
I think we stayed 1 or 2 years after the Mujahideen, but then when the civil war was at its peak, we had to leave. And the 7 years that I spent as a refugee in Pakistan, I always say that the most beautiful age of mine, or the time that I should have enjoyed as a youth, I spent it as a refugee in a very bad economical situation where men could not work. It was only my mom who was working for an NGO who was helping them to sew clothes and give them some salary. I didn't have the chance to complete my higher education. There was a a refugee school, Noor High School, where I studied until 12th grade. And then after that, I couldn't pursue my education. Well, since my childhood, it was my dream to become a doctor one day, but I never could achieve that dream. And then when I returned back to Afghanistan, it was 2002. So between 2002 and 2021, as Gesu said, things have changed a lot. When I first went back to Afghanistan in 2002, you could see in Kabul the buildings with holes from the bullets, and everywhere was like broken. You couldn't see a complete wall somewhere. But then in 2021, when we left a part of us there in Kabul. I always say that we didn't have quality internet as we have here. We didn't have the paved or the asphalted streets there, or the roads everywhere in Kabul. We didn't have regular electricity. We didn't have many of the facilities that we have here. But we had a kind of peace there. We had we felt free in Kabul and in Afghanistan. For me, irrespective of the term that is being used in literature and poetry, motherland for the country, for me, Afghanistan is like my baby. I have worked since 2006, and I have contributed to the development of Afghanistan step by step, especially in terms of women. Many of the policies and the laws that were passed in support of women in Afghanistan, I have been part of that advocacy, and I have been part of that development. So on 15th of August, Afghanistan, a Kabul fell. It was not only the fall of Afghanistan for me, it looked like end of life for me. Because all of a sudden you lose your kid, and that's so painful. So, I can't tell you how difficult it is to be away from your home. There's a poem in Farsi, in Khana Qashang ist, amma khane man nist. This is a beautiful house, but this is not my home. America is beautiful. It has everything a human being in 21st century requires. But I will not give my Kabul, my dusty, dirty Kabul, to any other city or place in the world.
Kabul is a special place. Majid, you had a rather dramatic departure from Kabul, as did many people in 2021, but you had a lot going on in your life. Can you talk about what was going on in your personal life at that time, and a little bit about the circumstances in which you left?
Actually, it is very hard for me to talk about my personal story. It has always been not easy. But when I talk about the collapse and its consequences, I remind a line from Allen Ginsberg, the famous poem of Allen Ginsberg, The How. He has a beautiful line at the beginning of that poem that says, I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness. And I was changing a little bit the end of this line, that I saw the best of my generation in Kabul airport on the borders with neighboring countries. So you can go on with the end of this line. So I think I don't feel comfortable to talk about my personal story, but as long as I'm invited here to talk a little bit about it. I was responsible to take almost 200 people, belongs to media organizations and international NGOs, to Kabul airport from a corner of Kabul. I was a coordinator along with 2 other colleagues. First, we had to take the people, get the people into buses, then take them to Serena Hotel. And in Serena Hotel, there were Qataris escorts. taking us to the Kabul airport. And I really do not forget the behavior of Qataris. When we went there, and they were saying that if we found an infant whose name was not in the manifest, we will return the whole caravan from any place close to the airport. And I was like feeling, this is Kabul, and this is my country. Who are you to like talking like this to me, that if one infant is included in the manifest, in the list, that has not been in the list, I will return the whole caravan. These words were not easy for me in that time. But okay, when we wanted to get him into buses, it was late because everybody was trying to get into buses. The people brought all their family members, and we had to separate them and only keep the people who their names were on the list. So it took us a little bit late, and then Taliban came and they took us and they put us in a police station. Then took us to other place, and we were for 2 days and nights. I was here, and it was not easy. And even I cannot.
You kind of just glossed over that. They put you in jail.
Of course, I was in a dark room with 500 criminals. Actually, they opened a dark door and they pushed me, and then I couldn't see anything. And then in the morning, I knew that the smugglers, killers, and there were 4 or 5 big criminals with me in that room. But they were very kind, actually. In the morning, they were trying to make me calm, and they're saying, okay, we have killed people, and you are a journalist, you will be released in 1 week or 2, so don't worry. So they were good people, I think, in that moment. And then after 1 or 2 days, I had bad experience of confronting with Taliban. They were not behaving well, so...
Let's get a little more detail on what they're not behaving well.
So it was not good.
They were
the way they behaved, of course, they were young people. They had absolute power and a gun. So, and they captured a man with, Western look. I was ready to go to United States, so I was in a Western dress, and so I was representing all the things that they fought in 20 years against. So I was a good prey for them.
And can we just also mention that you were technically on your honeymoon?
Yeah, actually.
During this period, the
yeah,
month of August.
I have a personal problem with the collapse. Not as a person that has lost its homeland or country, but it interrupted my honeymoon. It happened in the middle of my honeymoon.
So, Najib, sorry, I've got to share this very briefly. We share in common the fact that we both spent our honeymoon in Kabul.
In hard times.
In hard times, true story. And ironically, today is my 29th wedding anniversary. My wife and I were married October 1st, 1994 in Charlottesville, Virginia. And within about a week, we were back in Islamabad, Pakistan, which is where we were living at the time. We were both journalists. And within a week after that, we were in Kabul. So we've been married about 2 weeks at this point. And Gulbuddin Hekmatyar's guys are rocketing Kabul every morning at 5 a.m., so that's how we woke up. All the windows, we had a house in Wazir Akbar Khan neighborhood. All the windows have been blown out, so we have plastic sheeting over the windows. No electricity, no running water. I have not been allowed to make travel plans since then. My wife has never forgiven me. But we have been happily married for 29 years, so don't worry about the honeymoon. It's all going to work out, I promise. Thank you. Sorry for that little detour there.
And can I add a little bit about, I think we should talk about achievements. Mostly people are talking and writing about it in policy levels and also what went wrong and what does engagement mean for US in terms of counter-narcotics, counter-insurgency or counter-terrorism. But for us the story is very different. We have to talk about the stories that we want to talk about. In last 20 years our society was transformed. I'm not romanticizing that change, but it was quite significant. For example, in before 2001, the number of the school children were less than 1 million, but it, like in 2021, it was more than 10 million. And also, I was teaching in Persian literature department in North Kabul in a university, which was not a main university in the country, but I was the only teacher with master's degree. All my colleagues were PhD scholars, and in other departments like law, agriculture, engineering, medical, all our colleagues were graduated from neighboring countries, from even Europe, US, and they brought with them new methodology of research, teaching. So, and it was happening in all universities all across Afghanistan. And for example, the women of Afghanistan were challenging strong men in their strongholds in the elections, and they were winning. And they were 25% of the parliament, and they were part of our social debates and discourses. In Kabul, in Herat, in big cities, the majority of the school teachers were women. It was absolute majority. I was, for 4 years, working as the spokesperson for the Ministry of Education. So, I mean, we have to talk about the full picture when we talk about Afghanistan. It is not about, like, loss, it is about achievement.
It's just not a couple of days in August of 2021.
Yes.
Two decades before that. Jason, you've done this remarkable project where you have been collecting the stories of Afghans who've led the country for the past couple of years, starting in Poland, where you were a refugee, exile yourself. And you asked them 4 questions, the same 4 questions. Can you talk a little bit about those questions and the kinds of responses that they elicit?
Sure. I think when I'm giving these examples and the responses I got and those 4 questions are the evidence of what Mujib is talking about. That we need to talk about the achievements and what does it mean when you lose it, right? People usually forget, but that loss is huge for us. Who are living in exile. There were 4 simple questions. Sometimes people think that this is an oral history project. This is not an oral history project, and I did not follow any oral history methodology at all because I'm not an expert. Oral historians will get mad at me if I tell them that I followed their guidelines because I'm not an expert on that. I think to me in that time, because I was in exile and I was literally looking for hope, I just needed to knock doors. And I just wanted a space to share and grieve with them. And I didn't know how to. Abdullah is sitting in the audience. Abdullah was just running around me and trying to. Abdullah is my partner, by the way. Abdullah was trying to make sense of these things that happened because it was his first time getting out of Afghanistan. And for me, I was getting crazy, but I was looking for spaces to just share. I remember we were about 40-something people, families, women, men, and children in a refugee camp in Poland. Because I was smoking a cigarette with Abdullah, and I was wearing, my jeans and tights, and I was exercising in the morning. Unfortunately, the man who came from Afghanistan got really mad and didn't want to talk to me. And I didn't know what to do. I said, Abdullah, I'm stressed, I need to smoke with you, and I just need to exercise because I'm going to die, right? And what I did, I went to these different rooms and talked to the women. So the first 3 months was a little bit difficult because I had to explore to see if it was possible to talk to people, right? And I didn't know the results. I didn't know where the stories were going, but I just wanted to sit and just talk. That's what I wanted to do because it was really heavy for Abdullah to listen to me crying all the time, right? And then we came up, thanks to Louis Beckford, who is the CEO of Memoria, who is expert on storytelling on human rights. I talked to him, and he helped me to put a methodology together. So my goal at that time was that what happened between August 15 and August 30th in 2021. I just wanted to record that. It didn't matter to me where it was going. I came up with 4 questions. The first question was that I asked people, if you're walking around with the refugee camp, someone will come behind you and just mention Afghanistan. What is the first thing that comes to your mind? What is that single memory that comes to your mind? What is that and why is that? The second question I asked was, I didn't ask them about how they were evacuated. The second question was that, what was the exact moment like when you decided to leave the country? How did you decide that? How easy or difficult was it for you to leave the country? The third one was a little bit of an oral historian question about what was a single item you wanted to bring with you, but you couldn't. If you did it, why you brought it? Because I wanted to have really human connection with them. The fourth question was for the next generation. I was hoping that if things changes and we'll not have to talk about Afghanistan, I will take these stories back. And then 30 years from now, if someone will listen to you what happened to you in August 15, 2021, what do you tell that person? It can be your daughter, it can be your granddaughter, it can be anybody, it can be the next generation in Afghanistan. And I think these 4 questions resonated in every single person's lives. At the end, after 2 months before I leave the camp, all the men in the refugee camp became my friends, and we drank tea together. We smoked together right away. They agreed. They said, it's okay. She is an okay person. I can, sit with her and we can talk. And they were the men who came. It was their first time to open themselves. We literally sat and we cried. And it was my first time seeing men from Afghanistan sit with me and listen to me. And I listened to them, and we just created this intimate space to trust each other. I think that was the beauty of these 4 questions, that we trusted each other. I'm still in contact with most of them.
So you've gathered these stories, and you've had an exhibition that I understand was in France, and now you're trying to have it here in this country. Is there any place where people can see this material or look at this material?
Sure. So not all of them, due to security reasons. A lot of stories are not online. We just need to make sure that we protect them. But we have about 10 to 12 stories on AfghanVoicesOfHope.org. And also, if you go to the exhibition outside, there is a QR code. If you scan it, you go to their stories. I would like to warn you that these stories are not edited. It's their pure voice, and it's also their experiences. We edited a little bit the translation in English. It's a little bit hard to read. Sometimes when you look at TikTok, Instagram, you don't have passion to listen to stories, but to read raw contents. But I would like to request everyone to take their times, as I said, to read them, because they require a little bit of your time. It's in the website as well, most of them, yeah.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Nelda, the transition here is difficult, given your own story. Can you talk just a little bit about the bureaucracy? I mean, there's so many levels to talk about. You mentioned some of the personal, some of the emotional, helping bring your children into a new country and environment. But just talk about some of the bureaucracy you're facing and you know that others are facing in terms of getting the documents you need to work or to live or to get all kinds of certification that you need. It's a long process, I know.
So when we landed at Dallas Airport on 23rd of August, I I decided not to go to one of the safety zones that were allocated for the Afghan refugees. From the airport, I went with my cousin and I stayed with her for a while, and then my colleagues and the friends that I knew here, they helped me find a pro bono attorney, to whom I'm very thankful, Professor Lindsay Harris. She's not here, but she has stood with me all these 2 years of journey at every moment. So she submitted our application for employment authorization document, and it was following the normal process. And all of a sudden, on the website, you go and check your case status. It says that the case has been closed. And we don't know why. We are not able to find anyone to respond to this question, not on the USCIS website, not on the customer service number that they have provided. We are contacting the organization who was involved in our evacuation and IOM and other. We don't find anything for it. So finally, with a lot of difficulty, we found someone at the USCIS, and this person checked them. He found out that there were 2 applications submitted on our behalf. One through my attorney, and the other one we never found out who had submitted that, because I had not signed something, even not the resettlement agency even. So it took us like 3 to 4 months to find out only why the case was closed. And then after that was solved, we were able to get our employment authorization documents, me and my other daughter. And then it started with my legal status in terms of the asylum process. So my attorney submitted our application for asylum in end of October 2021. And then there is a bill now passed for this group of Afghans who came in August 2021, a congressional bill that says that as soon as USCIS receives the application, the interview should take place within 45 days from that. And 45 days is there, we went for an interview, and it was a very short time to get ready for it, considering that my attorney was working pro bono for me. And her students were spending a lot of time with me to prepare the declaration and then every documents that were needed. So it's 8th of December, 9 o'clock, we go to the USCIS, and then I leave the USCIS office at 6 p.m. From 9 to 6 p.m., I was almost interrogated by this USCIS officer. At the middle of the day, I wanted to tell her that, hey, look, I was put on one of those military planes because I was a person at risk. And my attorney has provided you a package of maybe thousands of documents. And I'm still here to convince you that I'm a person at risk, and I can't go back to that country that your government has handed over to the Taliban. I was that frustrated. Anyways, I left the office, and then for a week I was so traumatized because of going through all of my life again to prepare that document, and also the way that officer was. The questions that were raised were very culturally insensitive. I was wondering how this person is going to deal with all the Afghans after me. I was maybe one of the first ones who had submitted asylum applications. By then, a lot of the refugees were in the camps and they had not come out. Anyways, now it is August, it's now the 1st of October 2023, and I haven't heard anything from it. While again, the same congressional bill says that within 150 days of the interview, the decision should be made. You want to grant asylum, you want to refuse, you have to make the decision.
Right.
But I have to wait.
So yes, just to recap, you made the asylum application shortly after you got here. It's been more than 2 years. That temporary status has expired, but has now been renewed for another 2 years.
My parole expired on 23rd of August because it was 2 years after I had landed here. And then, luckily, my attorney had helped me to get they call it CA8 employment authorization document, which is an attachment to the asylum application. The parole has to be extended automatically for those refugees whose asylum is automatically, and our driving licenses had expired. My and my daughter had to go, and based on the EAD they were checking, and if the EAD was expired, you wouldn't get a renewed driving license. My both daughters have just started their semester, the educational year, right? And both of them were in the middle of FAFSA, with the financial aid application. So both of them were refused because our visas have expired. So that's the process.
No,
and then if you sit in the meetings that ORR and the State Department conduct, everything is perfect. The way they are describing, like, you feel like, okay, I have entered the haven and I don't know.
No, and again, to state the obvious, you all are very well educated, you speak English, you can handle the, you can handle, if they need documents, you can understand, you can respond. There's a lot of people who don't have the language skills, who don't have the education levels to deal with that.
Thank you so much, Greg, for saying this. So I always say this. I mean, I was able to speak a little English. I had a good network here. The organization that I used to work for, they helped me with everything, from the legal to resettlement to everything. But I'm always thinking of all those women who didn't speak the language, who didn't have the support that I had, who didn't have the connection that I have. What happens to them, I don't understand. And nobody is asking them. One of my biggest concerns and questions in these big events is that, have you gotten back to the women and to the people you have evacuated from Afghanistan? What are the challenges that they're facing?
So I believe we're starting to run out of time here. So I want to ask one last question of Mujib. It's difficult for anybody to make this transition. Could you talk a little bit about your brother and tell us his story?
Yes, actually, the worst part of living in the United States was, for example, Afghan Adjust Act was not rejected by Congress. In a time that, for example, the same law belongs to the Ukrainian was passed. And for example, my brother was an interpreter. I remember the days that he was bringing the videos from frontline, from Helmand and Kandahar, and they were caught in ambushes with American soldiers, like walking on minefields, shoulder by shoulder with American soldiers. And after he returned from the front line, he was different, and he was not well. But unfortunately, when he came here to the United States with that state of illness, and we were in different plans, evacuation plans, he was in Texas, I was in Florida, so we couldn't make it to come together as a family and support him in that hard times. And unfortunately, he returned back to Afghanistan, and now he's in prison. We talked about it a lot. We tried to not let him to go to Afghanistan. We talked to his friends in Kabul and other provinces, and we said, please convince him to not come back, because we were in different places. So it was not easy for me to travel from Florida at that time to Texas and like keep him, not letting him to go back to Afghanistan. But when he went back with that state of mind, the Taliban took him, and it is 1 year that he's in prison, and they are asking us for money. It is a kind of kidnapping. And this is not my story. I'm not here to talk about my own personal stories, and I don't have expectations, to tell you the truth. It is not important for me to get my green card tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. These things are not my concerns. My concern is my people in Afghanistan, 1,000 interpreters in the situation that my brother is now. They're changing their places in Kabul. It's 2 years. going from one place to other. Some are safe, but some are in danger, and some have been tortured and persecuted. So, and my brother is one of them. I don't want to separate them from other thousands of people who are in danger, especially our military personnel, our journalists, women rights activists who are now in prison. So that is what I really don't like to talk about it, to do advocacy about it.
No, I understand, Eugene, but I think it's very important to share that story to really drive home with the difficulty of here, the difficulty in Afghanistan.
And Greg, I want to, the last sentence, for me, as an Afghan, as a person from that country, Afghanistan, it was very humiliating because we had a security pact with US government. It was supposed to end in 2025. The withdrawal was a shock. It was against every principle that two allies have towards each other. They came and they out in the middle of the night. They came. They didn't ask our permission to invade our country, and they went. And Mr. Khalilzad was talking about this on media, that we didn't ask your permission, we came to your country, and we will go back and we will not ask your country. But we said, okay, but we have signed a security pact. We have fought together for a common cause. So, but we as a nation, we feel humiliated, unfortunately, especially our soldiers who are desperately living in a very bad circumstances in neighboring countries in Iran. Even there are reports that some of them are recruited by Russian embassy from Iran in order to fight in Ukraine. And it is very ironic that the soldiers trained by Americans are now maybe fighting in Ukraine against another allies of America. So this is very humiliating. So we can't digest it, to tell you the truth.
Mujib, I'm going to ask one more thing of you. I think we're basically at the end of our program here, so I'm going to thank all three of you for your wonderful stories and contribution. I know a lot of these are very heart-wrenching. Please give them a round of applause. And Mujib, I would like you to take us off the stage with one of your poems that will be used for us.
I would like to request Mujib, because I think you really love Mujib's poem, right? Us, especially. Would you like to conclude the panel, and then would like to ask Mujib to go to the podium and
Yes.
recite it? Is that okay?
We will clear the stage and leave it to Mujib. Mujib,
Thank you so much.
take it away. Thank you all very much.
Hello. This poem is from my collection titled Soldiers. It is about an American soldier sending a letter to his girlfriend from Helmand. And I wrote this collection and the poems when my brother was in duty with American soldiers in Helmand, and the videos he was bringing on that time, the stories he was bringing, inspired me to write a whole collection about the soldiers. It was a kind of phenomenological reflection of soldiers' state of mind. The soldiers fighting in Afghanistan, whether it is a Russian soldier or American soldier, what is his state of mind in that ambush? Is it talking about like big slogans, or no, he is thinking in that moment about very intimate aspect of his life, about his home, about his girlfriend, about his family. So my poems were mostly about those small details rather than big slogans. So when I was writing this poem, I was imagining the beloved to be somewhere close to Mississippi River. I didn't have any idea about Mississippi River, but I knew it's a river, and river is always poetic, you know. If you want to tell your story related with the river, it's beautiful. So it is called A Soldier's Letter to His Lover. I don't remember the Mississippi River and its warm sand. What I think is, will the sand of your eyes touch my body again? The black cat in my house can climb into your bed. He doesn't drink, but sits on the sofa and listens to you singing in the kitchen or the bath. It's his voice that comes from the doorway, and you close the door behind him many times in the day. He goes to the park with you, and on the bench licks your fingers, and you massage his neck. He is calmer when the pen comes from your fingertips. The planters we bought harm the flowers while we are out, and if we don't open the windows, rooms spread their poison. It's called Helmand, a wilderness illuminated at night by thousands of stars. During the day, the sun is so hot, I can hear my blood boiling in my veins. On the verge of the wilderness, live hard men, women move like ghosts through the cornfields. They even hide their faces in front of the sunflowers. Men fall in love with these ghosts, and when they are invited to holy war, they leave them alone with sad songs in the fields. Women pass time by looking and touching the plants. They are sad, like when you kiss my photo in the mornings. They don't have photos of their men when they are upset. They work like you, but in the sunny fields which belong to the snakes as well. They also take care of herds of children. They work hard in the fields planted with mines by their lovers, and they like the details of life just like you do. And like in your house, love is like a mist everywhere in the fields. Thank you very much. And I want to dedicate this poem to a soldier, Lady Adela John, and it's an honor, and I want to dedicate this poem to you.
Thank you, Mujib. It's an honor to be here today and share to my story. My name is Adela Jawadi. I am a member of Afghanistan military female tactical platoon team. I work side by side with Afghan and American special forces for more than 6 years. Today, I am a refugee who is not different from the others who were first to leave Afghanistan and find ways to resettle and start a new life. You probably heard many stories in the news and social media and from other refugees who you supported over the past 2 years. Each story represents an experience, a struggle to fight for our country, and a person who had never dreamed of leaving their country. I am Adela, who joined military in 2015. I remember the day I told my parents about my decision to join the military. My father did not say anything at first. However, my mother response at first my mother's response was different. She replied, this is your life and your future. It's your decision. But promise me two things. One, you need to be good, and second, that nothing will happen to you. The day my scholarship to Turkey was processed, I called my father and told him that I was ready to go to leave. He warned me that if I join the military, I will not be his daughter anymore. I was shocked and did not know what to do. I ignored his disapproval and followed my decision to go. I made promise to myself to make both my father and mother proud. After finishing my training in Turkey, I decided to be a member of female tactical platoon. I talked with my parents again about my decision, but it is not culturally acceptable for girls to serve in such roles. Finally, they accepted that I joined the FTP. I am Adela, who has many memories, many lessons I have learned in my life. The beauty about my experience as the FTP was not only fighting for my country and breaking taboos throughout my community and many others. It was also about making friends, including connecting with my American sisters, and finding ways to maintain hope and provide hope to others. One source of hope for me was Mahjabin Hakimi, and I would like to mention her here. She was a fellow FTP and one of my closest friends and sister. She was a role model and gave me courage. Her bravery and her friendship will always be such a big part of my life. Her photo is displayed here in this museum. Before the collapse of Afghanistan in the hand of Taliban, Mahjabin was tragically killed. But she lives in us. I had no plans for my future, and when I came to the United States 2 years ago, after Mahjabin left us and our government fell and the Taliban came, I had lost all my dreams and hopes in Afghanistan. When you lose everything, the only thing left is the hope that you can live again. Being here in the United States, the only thing that has given me energy is hope. I am able to carry that hope forward with the support of my family and friends and all of you here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mujib, for dedicating that beautiful poem to Adila Jan. Adila Jan, thank you so much. I remember when I knocked on your door in Kansas City, I didn't know that Adila was part of the FTPs. I gave you that experience tonight by hearing to Adila's story. When you go to AfghanVoicesOfHope.org, it may take you hours to listen to this kind of stories. Sometimes you feel like, you know what, I'm going to put my phone down, I'm not going to listen to it, as you probably felt it tonight, right? You said, this is heavy, I can't do it anymore, it's enough, I already heard it enough. But you know, the beauty of these stories are that it trains you to listen to the struggle that we went through in Afghanistan. By that, I would like to request my beautiful, my strong, my partner in crime, Mitra Mehran, to give her concluding remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Gesujan, and congratulations for a beautiful night. Good evening, everyone. I know that I'm standing between you and the music, so I will keep it brief. But I'm pretty sure, as they say in English, dessert holds that title tonight. In the serene, rugged landscapes of Badakhshan, nestled in the northeast of Afghanistan, my most cherished memories were born. Our Dalan, porch I believe in English, a haven in the midst of our home, was a life with tales by day. Women, having endured the weight of their daily chores, would congregate, their voices merging in a symphony of shared struggles and dreams. They spoke of hardships and struggles and misery and poverty. But amid those stories, a beautiful resilience sparkled through. The comforting Salam Khwar Khubasti, which means how are you, sister, uttered in that distinct Badakhshi accent, was a testament to the power of sharing and sisterhood. And there was so much for me to learn. Those stories have shaped me. Their tales were a therapy, transforming anxiety into hope, fear into power. Oral history is part of the cultural fabric, stretching from Badakhshan to Bamiyan, to Kandahar and Herat, to Faryab and Mazar. In conflicted Afghanistan, women carried these tales chest to chest, transporting them to the next generation as a force of feminine resilience and power. These stories just don't narrate events. They awaken souls, bridge divides, and bind us in that unbreakable human tapestry. Through stories, we recognize ourselves and others. We feel, we understand, we cry, and we heal. Yet, today, an ominous cloud hangs over Afghanistan, and I wonder if our women, having lost the freedom of assembly and movement, can find a space to walk or walk to those spaces to share. How much has changed when the very act of walking, speaking, or sharing is cloaked in fear? In 2021, Gesu and I, with some other friends who I see in audience, Satya John and Mariam John, and Mina, who is in France now, but you see her story in the exhibition, embarked on a mission, the Feminine Perspectives Campaign. We journeyed to rural areas, absorbing stories from men and women of diverse backgrounds. Each story was a unique tapestry of strength, with women demanding their rights in their own words. While political issues unfolded on international stages and made headlines to the news outlets, these intimate narratives painted a vivid picture of what was happening on the ground. Dedicated and unwavering, my amazing friend Gesu is here today, having navigated through the chaos post-August 2021 with the stories of us forced into exile as a result of the Taliban's takeover. Our friendship is akin to her travel tales, full of unexpected turns and laughable moments. For every flight delay in Hotel Senafu she endured, and she makes sure that I listen to her to all vivid details, there was a poignant tale she brought back, woven with the pain of loss and desperate search for identity and belonging. Each story, no matter how heavy or light, mirrored the tapestry of human emotion, much like the highs and lows of our enduring, yet cherished and beautiful friendship. Mahjabin's story, as relayed by the amazing Adila, felt hauntingly familiar and made Naijan and Salma and I at least cry. We all harbor a myriad of tales within us that makes us who we are, that shape us. The homes that cradled our dreams, the friendships that sculpted our souls, the melodies that defined our days, and all those beautiful first poems, the ones we had our first crash experiences with. Guys threw inside pens or smuggled it into our books. Now for many teenagers in Afghanistan, I wonder, who knows how many are experiencing that with Mujib's poems in books. I am certain that everyone in this room holds a similar tale. Despite our diverse paths, our stories reveal a shared heartbeat, a collective yearning. But amidst this shared tapestry of emotion, how often do we really see each other? And I want to ask you, when was the last time you posed that simple but powerful question? How do you feel? In this room and beyond lies our shared humanity. Let's weave a world where each tale, no matter how painful, finds a listening ear, where every heart, no matter how shattered, finds a home. Let's Mariam's dreams and all of ours take flight, reminding us of the ties that bind. Keeping that sentiment in mind, I promise to keep it brief. Who wants to be stuck between or become a sandwich between you and the music? Of course, not me. So let's head over to Tabla for Two with fantastic Abigail and Masood. They'll take us to the sweet nostalgia of home, resonating with their enchanting melodies and lyrics. And I think it's time that I take my word back. When I said Desert holds that title tonight, I believe Tabla for Two indisputably wins that title I claimed at the beginning. Indeed, it's the music that embody the essence of dessert, capturing the richness and flavors in the symphony of strings and beats, much like the perfect end to a delightful meal. And to conclude, when I say nostalgia of home, with a heartbeat, home is always Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh.
Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Can you hear me? We're just going to open up with a beautiful all-tabla piece. It's our new music for the new world, and we're living in this new place. So we have to have a kind of quiet, so I'll wait a minute.
لطفاً اگه میخواین میوزیک گوش بدین میتونین همینجا باشین و سکوت رعایت کنین. هر کس که نمیخواد میوزیک گوش بده میتونه از سالن بره. تشکر.
Okay, we're going to try this all over again. These pieces, excuse me, we're going to open this up with a classical piece that's for all tabla, and it's our new music for the new world. And this is... Please, if you are talking, maybe leave the room and we'll just leave this room quiet for the music. We'll try that. Thank you.
Take that like yes.
Okay. Okay, this is going to the back of the room. Please, if you would like to listen to the music, stay. But if you are talking, please leave the room. Because we have to have votes. Thank you. Thank you.
دازمون زیبا وطن دازمون لیلا وطن دا وطن موزندی دا افغانستان دا وطن موزندی دا افغانستان دازمون زیبا وطن دازمون لیلا وطن دعوت موزندی دا افغانستان دعوت موزندی دا افغانستان دا زمون زیبا وطن دا زمون لیلا وطن دعوت موزندی دا افغانستان دعوت موزندی دا افغانستان دعوت انتظار زمون دعوت ایمان زمون وای پخابوڑ کی دس مشمار زمون وای پخابوڑ کی دس مشمار زمون دامد دادا وطن دامد بابا وطن پمش باندې دې ګران دې دا افغانستان دا وطن موزندی دا افغانستان دا زمون زیبا وطن دا زمون لیلا وطن دا وطن موزندی دا افغانستان دا وطن موزندی دا افغانستان دا وطن موزندی دا افغانستان دا وطن موزندی دا mazor molom majon saile gulilo lazor و دلبر جان سیل گل لالزار و دلبر جان بیا که بریم بر مزار مولا محمد جان سیل گل لالزار و دلبر جان سیل گل لالزار و دلبر جان سر کوی بلند فریاد کردن علی شیر خدا را یاد کردن علی شیر خدا را یاد کردن علی شیر خدا دردم دوا کن مناجاتی مرا پیش خدا کن مناجاتی مرا پیش خدا کن بیا که بریم بر مزار مولا محمد جان سیل گل لالزار و دلبر جان سیل گل لالزار و دلبر جان بیا که بریم بر مزار مولا محمد جان سیل گل لالزار و دلبر جان سیل گل لالزار و دلبر
Can you give me a height? Yeah. Kriya.
دلکم های دلکم های دلکم تریا مرغکی تیر جفا خوردگکم دلکم های دلکم های دلکم مرغکی تیر جفا خوردگکم دل یاره من دل بیچاره من شوره از خود و بیگانه شدی دلکم ای دلکم ای دلکم مرغکی تیر جفا خوردگکم تو را از دور میبینم چی حاصل و پهلویت نمیچینم چی حاصل درختی حسن تو گلزارو کرده درختی حسن تو گلزارو کرده از آن گلها نمیچینم چی حاصل دلکم ای دلکم ای دلکم مرغکی تیر جفا خورده مکم دلکم ای دلکم ای دلکم مرغکی تیر جفا خورده مکم دل یاره من دل بیچاره من خود و بیگانه شدی دلکم ای دلکم ای دلکم مرغکی تیره جفا خوردنکم سیاه چشمت و دلبنده تو باشد سیاه چشمت و دلبنده تو باشد و پای جان ز پیوند تو باشد سفر کردم و گلشنهای دنیا سفر کردم و گلشنهای دنیا ندیدم کس مانند تو باشد دلکم ای دلکم ای دلکم مرغکی تیره جفا خوردنکم دلکم ای دلکم ای دلکم مرغکی تیره جفا خوردنکم دل یاره من دل بیچاره من شوره از خود و بیگانه شدی دلکم ای دلکم ای دلکم مرغکی تیره جفا خوردنکم دلکم ای دلکم ای دلکم مرغکی تیره جفا خوردنکم دلکم ای دلکم ای دلکم مرغکی تیره جفا خوردنکم دلکم ای دلکم ای دلکم مرغکی تیره جفا پلوی غروبان دیرا کشت طوفانونه گلی بریگی مزه دل تشبه که باد شبانونه پلوی غروبان دیرا کشت طوفانونه گلی بریگی مزه دل تشبه که باد شبانونه روی غروبان دیران کشت طوفانونه گلی بریگی مزه دل تشبه که باد شبانونه زیبا خنده زی خوریگی زی بیگانه سیلی لیگی ماشوم زی غیرت جلیگی چه جانان زی لبا تکیگی ماشوم زی غیرت جلیگی چه جانان زیده با تکیگی اما جارت امان جهان دی گلی بریگی مزه دل تشبه که باد شبانونه پلوی غروبان دیران کشت طوفانونه گلی بریگی مزه دل تشبه که باد شبانونه
Two after here. Good.
زندگی آخر سرای بندگی در کار نیست بندگی گر شرط باشد زندگی در کار نیست زندگی آخر سرای بندگی در کار نیست بندگی گر شرط باشد زندگی در کار نیست زندگی آخر سرای بندگی در کار نیست زندگی آزادی زندگی آزادی انسان استقلال اوست بحر آزادی جلال بندگی در کار نیست زندگی آخر سرای بندگی در کار نیست بندگی گر شرط باشد زندگی فشاری دشمنان گر فشاری دشمنان آبد کنند نیستی مشو مرد باشه خسته شرمندگی در کار نیست زندگی آخر سرایت بندگی در کار نیست بندگی گر شرط باشد زندگی در کار نیست زندگی آخر سرایت بندگی در کار واحد خارد گر ببارد واحد خارد گر ببارد بر سرت بارانی در آسمان را برم بارندگی در کار نیست زندگی آخر سرایت بندگی در کار نیست بندگی گر شرط باشد زندگی در کار نیست زندگی آخر سرایت بندگی در کار نیست بندگی گر شرط باشد زندگی در کار نیست زندگی آخر سرایت بندگی در کار Abigail, she loved this song. That's why she asked it. Agar bahar biyayad taranaha khwaham khwand taranahay khushi oshikona khwaham khwand Agar bahar biyayad فسانه ها خواهم خاطری تو من فسانه ها خواهم اگر بهار بیاید ترانه ها خواهم ترانه های خوشی عاشقانه خواهم اگر بهار بیاید ترانه ها خواهم ترانه های خوشی عاشقانه خواهم اگر بهار بیاید ترانه ها خواهم ترانه های خوشی عاشقانه خواهم Very difficult, very hard to think of. دیشب با خدا خمار بودم سرگرم دو چشمیار بودم دیشب با خدا خمار بودم سرگرم دو چشمیار بودم من گل پرستم بیبادم هستم افتاده یک دل یک شب زیدستم من گل پرستم بیبادم هستم افتاده یک دل یک شب زیدستم چپ چپ برگوید از رای موید دیدم زی شوخی مهتاب روید چپ چپ برگوید از رای موید دیدم زی شوخی مهتاب روید من دو صدادی رقصیدی و در برم فتادی شب که با من دو صدادی رقصیدی و در برم فتادی تو نشبودی من مست تو بودم تو چاک دامن من دل کشودم تو نشبودی من مست تو بودم تو چاک دامن من دل کشودم با ناز و عشق و آدر بری من قربان راحت چشم کری من با ناز و عشق و آدر بری من قربان راحت چشم کری من بهتر ز گلاب بستان است پیراهن سرخی مبازد بهتر ز گلاب بستان است چشمی تو نرگس زلف تو سنبل لبهای سرخت نازکتر از گل چشمی تو نرگس زلفی تو سنبل لبهای سرخت نازکتر از گل با ناز و عشق و آدر بری من قربان راحت چشم کری من با ناز و عشق و آدر بری من قربان راحت چشم کری من
We don't want to